Hello everybody, this is DearMamaSal. Monday morning, -2 in Canada, which would be equivalent to 28 degrees in the States, and you of course notice I do not have my big woolly coat on. Some people should listen to the weather forecast in the morning. It just was such a bright sunny day, as you will probably be able to see. As I drive to work, it's one of those beautiful days that I adore, because it's bright and sparkly, not overcast and raining. So anyway, here I am on my way to work, and it's going to be my first full day up. You'll see how my spine does today. It's a little tender still, but the good news is that that's all. You know, actually I lie, it's a bit more than tender, I guess, on anybody else's scale. It's sore, good and sore, but I always look at it, it's something that is hopefully going to get better in a hurry, and so that's a good thing. And also, you know, as I said last week, it's not that I'm sick, I'm just in pain, and there's a difference in that to me. In a way, sometimes pain is easier to deal with than being sick. Now, we had... I'm sorry, I'm just looking at one of these baby on board type signs, you know, and it's... I often wonder about those. Do people actually put those stickers up because they think that people will be less likely to hit them if there's a baby on board? Do they know that we never intentionally mean to hit another car? And whether or not you've got a baby on board sticker or not really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Or does it? Maybe research has shown that it does. Well, I'm sure you guys will tell me if that is true. But I often wonder about that, which is, hello, I didn't mean to hit you in the first place. Certainly wouldn't have hit a car with a baby on board if I'd known I was going to hit somebody. We'll see. So, very dramatic week last night. I guess it was about 9 o'clock at night, somewhere around there, when suddenly Laurie's car alarm system went off. Now, there's nothing worse than a screaming alarm down your street 9 o'clock at night. Well, actually there is. I guess 3 o'clock in the morning would be worse. But anyway, everybody's already sort of settled down in my neighborhood anyway. And so suddenly there's this god-awful noise going on. And, you know, to begin with, you think, I wonder who the poor sod that is, that, you know, his alarm's going off. And then you realize, maybe it's mine. It sounds quite close. So I went out on the front deck because, you know, I'm on the first floor of my property, and I can hear it's in my driveway, and I think it's Mickey Blue Eyes that's having a little snit. So I grab my keys and I rush back to the deck and turn off the alarm, which of course sets Mickey's alarm off because it wasn't on in the first place. So now we had two cars going for a split second until I turned Mickey's back off again. Pretty noisy. And then I realized it must be Laurie's car. So I haul Laurie's ass out of bed, explain what the problem is, and she manages to get her car turned on, and somehow managed to get the alarms turned off, but she thinks it's due to the fact that the sensors go off when it gets damp inside. You know, it's an older car, and she believes that there's a lot of damp inside and it's corroding some of the wires. And when it gets very cold, as it did last night, it actually triggers the sensors. And they all go off at the same time. So not only is there a god-awful noise in terms of the alarms, but also you've got stupid women telling you your car door is open when it isn't. That sort of thing. So you can imagine, very stressful situation, but she managed to get it to stop, which we were all very grateful for. In fact, everybody in a square block radius was very grateful for. We all just get settled back down again when, guess what, it went off again. And this time it would not go off, whatever she did. So then she decides to drive it round the block. Well, I could still hear her wherever she was going. But I guess there's part of me that goes, at least she was waking up different people in the neighborhood. Or not waking them up, but disturbing them. It was very sad. I felt so sorry for her because there's nothing I could do to help. And she came back and said, what do I do? What do I do? Sort of thing. And I said, well, the only thing I can think of is get to a garage or the only thing I can think of is disconnect the battery. And I certainly am not in a fit state to be doing that. So get to a garage. So she did. She took the car and went to a garage, and she managed to get a couple of very helpful young men to help her, or I'm not sure if they were even young, but they helped her by disconnecting the horn. Even better, just disconnected the lead that went to the horn. So it was very, very eventful. And when she came back, I just apologized humbly and said, I'm so sorry, I couldn't do anything to help. Because I really felt as though I was useless as a friend in that moment. So the good news is that the car actually isn't insured. That's not good news, but I mean, what I'm saying is that the car actually is not a car that is on the road, and therefore, the fact that the horn is disconnected is not an issue, not a safety issue. So it was really quite something. Now, overall, it was a pretty sad day for me yesterday, one way or another, because also my Broncos didn't just lose, they got wiped off the face of this earth in the Super Bowl, which was very, very sad to watch. In fact, I gave up watching about 3/4 of the way through. What was the point? I was very happy for all the Seattle supporters, and there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the better team, by far, won. And I don't know what happened to the Broncos. That certainly wasn't their game. And all credit to Seattle for what they did. That was quite something. And to everybody that supports them, including Benji and Judy and everybody else that supported them because of Benji and Judy, I guess. I'd have to say that as well. But it was really very good. And as you know, I have sort of a heart connection with the Broncos because of something that happened to me about 25 years ago, where I got to sit on a flight with one of the owners for about, the whole flight back from Hong Kong, in fact. And it was really quite entertaining, because he taught me about American football, because I was new in the country and I knew nothing. And he very patiently explained the whole thing to me. And did a great job. I mean, enough that I became, a football fan. And have watched avidly ever since. It was a little sad. We did move the start time of the broadcast forward to 3 o'clock, and put up a warning on that one, and Christine came to visit, and that was it, and she had to go, so I waited 20 minutes and then decided I'd go and watch the game, and that's what I did. So for those of you who missed it with me, so sorry, but I did put up the times, and I was there. So I'm hoping this is going to be a good week. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to do today, and I'm hoping I will be able to do a full day. It's a little bit scary for me because I haven't been sitting too well. And I notice when I drive, my weight is on my right side. You notice that? The weight's inclined to be on one side more than the other, and mine's definitely on the right side. That would be because that's where my accelerator is. So, makes a lot of sense. Now then, here's the thing. Two things. Number one, I put up my second makeup video this weekend, and it amazes me how many people watch that. I'm not quite sure whether I am putting out boring videos that twice as many people seem to watch the makeup ones, or whether the majority of people watching YouTube enjoy makeup videos. Anyway, I'm not upset. I'm going to be doing both before any of you are going, oh my god, because I know a lot of you do enjoy these drives and chats that I do, so I definitely won't be stopping that unless I find the numbers are not there. That would be 0. As long as somebody's finding use for them, I will continue to do them. But it was interesting to me, and then as well, I really get a sense that you guys enjoyed my how to cook Chinese when you haven't been shopping video, because as you know, I was a little bit incapacitated, and apparently quite a few of you enjoyed my let me make a plan about the lemon chicken, and it worked so well. That's the surprising thing. The surprising thing was how good it tasted. And so I will be making the lemon chicken again. Be visiting. And I was thinking I could use it in other sweet and sour type sauces as well. So I can use up the packet that I opened. It was, I think Yvonne said, only Sal would think to do that. I said, yeah, you could be right. Yeah, but you know, I definitely get a feeling that some of you understand that that this cooking by perfection is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I wish I could do it, and I really actually admire people who can do it, because I just never have been able to. Is it a rebel in me? I don't know. Are there other cooks out there that have the same problem? It's me. I put stuff in there and taste it, and if it tastes too sugary, I put something else in it, and if it tastes too salty, I put something else in it, and I keep going until it tastes right, and then I stop. You know, I don't understand how to cook the right way. That probably makes my cooking very boring, actually. I don't know. But it is the way I've always cooked, and I have great difficulty when people ask me for recipes. Because my whole recipe system runs in, well, you throw in some of this. How much? I don't know. Some. And so, to me, it's very exciting. Sorry, I just took a little trip up the side of the pavement. I love having a SUV. They're made to be able to do that when somebody's in your way. So I think it's actually quite exciting to cook that way. And I guess I must have had quite good results, otherwise I wouldn't do it anymore, right? Now, I did try last night because I know I wanted to experiment with it. I wanted to try and make some homemade... Ooh, there's a lot of water coming down the street here. I wanted to try and make some homemade crisps. Chips, for those of you in England. And it was quite funny. No, not chips. What are they called in England? Chips in England are fries. Crisps in England. Homemade crisps. Oh my gosh, what are they called here? Pringle type things. I don't know. I get so confused all the time, even after all this time. Anyway, so French fries, crisps, never mind. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I tried to make some, boy, that's labor intensive, and I couldn't believe how long it took. So I, very thinly sliced potatoes with my mandolin, and then I, sprayed them with a bit of Pam and some sea salt, and then baked them. But boy, it took forever. I was eating them as fast as I was making them. Now, there's got to be something wrong with that. So after a sort of an evening of backwards and forwards with these things, I really had very little to show for it. So I won't be doing those again. But I'm definitely hear from other people that making your own healthy vegetable type fry crisps is a good idea, whether it's yams or whatever. So if any of you have had any joy with that, please give me some input, because I'd be very interested in a better way to do it than the way that I was doing it, which sucked, quite honestly. It's like, why would anybody do this? I'd rather spend the money. Now, there's part of me that goes, because you are aware of how much salt you're putting on, or whatever. Yes, that would be one reason to do it. But really, seriously. Now, I'm not quite sure what it was about the meal we cooked on Saturday night, because neither Laurie and I were particularly hungry yesterday. We definitely had a snack day yesterday rather than a food day. So that was interesting. It is so pretty. Really is pretty today. So it was a good weekend overall. I felt very sad that I had to cancel the broadcasts on Friday, but I really was in too much pain to do that. I did do a broadcast on Saturday, although I didn't do a extended one. I just did a regular one, because it was about as much as I could do, quite honestly, but I did do one. So I was very happy about that. But you guys are really very patient in those terms. So I'm hoping that you all have a good week wherever you are, and I'm just trying to think of what subject I should talk about this week. So if any of you got any subjects you'd like me to talk about while I drive to work this week, feel free to send them in, because I'm always interested in hearing. Even if I don't cover it, at least I'm interested in hearing what you'd like to talk about. And I know that a lot of you do like these life lesson things. So I guess the lesson that I'd suggest for the absolute panic and chaos of having your car alarm go off the way that Laurie's did last night. For all you women out there who are listening to this, this is a really good time to be what I call the pathetic female. There are times to be a strong female, and there are times to be what I call a pathetic female. And, you know, I really have to tell you that if a whole group of guys come out and want to help you, let them. Let them. Stand back and let them argue with themselves and do whatever, and let them help. Because that's what Laurie did. And consequently, somebody traced the wire that was needed to her horn and disconnected it. And, you know, that's really intelligent, as far as I'm concerned. You know, if you call for whatever your local car fixer-upper is, BCAA is what we have here, and I know it's AAA down in the States, but, you know, if you call for one of those people, it's going to take 2 hours of that alarm going off. And really, it's quicker to have somebody who actually does know. And my experience has been that the odds of somebody knowing what they're doing coming along are pretty high, actually. Especially if they come to actually help. And most people are smart enough not to try and fix a car or disable a car that they don't know how to do it. And the other thing is, do it in a public place, i.e. in a gas station or somewhere where there are lights on and people can see, so that you won't be alone. That's a safety issue for me. So, and the very high adrenaline that flows because of a panic like that. Be aware what that does to your body, and you know, really be kind to yourself the next day, because that sort of stress level, where it's not just stress of your car going wrong, it's the stress of you can't stop the noise. And the noise is horrible. Really horrible. And that causes even more stress. All right, everybody, so have a great day. And remember that when things like this happen in your life, as I believe Steven Tyler first said, sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield. And luckily, everybody ended up just fine. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for watching, and for those of you who listen, thank you for listening. Have a great day. I'm going to. And I will speak to you tomorrow. Bye bye for now.